Hello Reformers and welcome back to Mountain Blade Warband, and this is of course our native series, and we are here defending against a certain person. King Graveth himself is deciding to launch an assault against Colmar Castle. Now generally I would basically just allow him to do whatever he wants to do, you know. I would be retreating from here and just leaving the castle to him. He can just take it. I don't really care about it. But here's the thing. I kind of want to eliminate him. Because if we can eliminate him, it's going to make everything so much easier in the long run. And that means, of course, not having him annoy us when we go and attempt to take the last two fiefs. There are two fiefs remaining. One is a town, one is a castle. And we're going to be heading to the castle after this particular siege, and we're going to see how we can take that, hopefully pretty easily. I do have a pretty sizable amount of Swadian Knights, but obviously those Swadian Knights are not going to be extremely good in sieges. They're going to be fine, they're going to be perfectly reasonable, and they're probably going to be slightly, I would say probably just as maybe third best, or maybe even second best. I'm not entirely sure, but basically the best unit that you're going to get in native are, of course, Nordhuskarls. Nordhuskarls are the best unit for sieges and infantry combat, all that sort of stuff. And then, of course, you do have Swadian Knights that are fantastic on field battles, but they are certainly nothing to say, oh, no thank you, I don't want any of those Swadian Knights. No, they're certainly, they are certainly not anything to say that to, because they are fantastic units in general, and they are going to be very, very good for all kinds of applications. And especially against a force of units like we can maybe expect to see in the nearby Itrosk Castle, because Itrosk Castle is the last castle that the Rhodoks have under their control. And then we will be going to the last town, which is Yalen, I believe. And we're going to see how we do there. Now, we have already eliminated a pretty sizable amount of people. I have also, I don't know whether you could tell because of the size of the bow on my back, but I actually found a war bow. Yes, a war bow. Now, personally, I think the war bow is actually the best bow that you can find in native warband. And obviously, by all means, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can probably, I think it is basically that. It's just I think the modifiers will make a difference, of course. I think I just have a standard war bow at the moment, but you can get a strong one. And I'm not entirely sure if you can find anything better than that. Maybe a masterwork. I'm not entirely sure if it can go to masterwork, but anyway, point is, I have a war bow right now, and it is doing so much more damage than the Nomad bow I was using beforehand. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy about that, because, as I said in the previous episode, it really was very disappointing to have a bow and have a decent amount of power draw. I think I've got like 5 or 6 in power draw, and I'm not able to do that much damage. And it was kind of disappointing to see Barney firing away, getting a body shot, and then only doing, well, mediocre damage. And it's just, it's kind of lame, it's really kind of lame to spend all those points in power draw just to end up doing that little damage thanks to your equipment. And so I endeavored to try and find something a little bit better, and I found this. I think I actually found this in Valuka, actually, amusingly enough. I would not have expected to find any kind of longbow in a Rhodok town, but it seems like they did have something. And I was able to buy it for about 1,000. Yeah, pretty cheap as well, so not bad there. And as you could no doubt tell from me firing away at some of the attackers, it is doing significantly more damage, because before I was doing about, 10 to 15 damage per body shot. Now we're doing about 25. So it is a pretty significant damage increase, even if it is just small amounts statistically on the actual bow itself, because I believe the bow I had previously was about 20 piercing damage, and now we're having a bow that does 26, so it's really not that much more, but it just shows how much statistically the values can make a huge difference to how much you're able to do and how much protection you're able to have as well in the form of armor, of course. You know, in the case of armor, should I say. Anyway, point is, I am actually going to try and find some... Oh no, most of these guys are crossbowmen, aren't they? Oh, that is bad. That is very, very bad. We're never going to be able to find any arrows here. Unless... No, we oh no, that's actually it. I'm only using units that use crossbows, and we are only against units that use, well, you guessed it, crossbows. So we're not going to be able to get any form of replenishment in terms of our arrows ever again. So that is not very good. I mean, the only time that we could do that is if we were using Vaegirs or Saranids, I suppose, which might make sense, but I've basically purged my party of every single unit that isn't going to level up into a Swadian Knight of some kind. And obviously I did take a couple of... I think I have a couple of Nords as well, but I think for the most part I don't have anything else. I've basically just tried to be as efficient as possible with my army composition. And you can see here Barney is getting so many kills, and I'm actually kind of surprised by this because in the big scope that we're up against here, we're up against a pretty large army in comparison to what we currently have, but you can see that they just aren't able to do anything. They are coming to the top and they're getting cut down by King Barney almost immediately. And it's pretty crazy. Absolutely crazy. So it's nice to know that his weapon is still doing a decent job, because I was actually thinking of replacing that as well as the bow, but it doesn't seem like that is actually necessary, which is pretty great. I think that's pretty great. So we are going to... actually, I think we're done. Wow. That was actually remarkably easy. I'm very surprised. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be, really. I mean, we had the high ground, kind of, and this siege tower is an absolutely awful thing. I took this literally off screen, literally like, I don't know, a couple of minutes before we started the episode, and, well, King Graveth obviously appeared basically instantly, and yeah, he's running away. He's running away. He only has, oh wow, he only has 66 remaining. He's going to go into Etrusc Castle, which is exactly what we want to see. We want to see him tucking the tail between his legs and running away. And what we're going to do now is we're going to just get a couple of extra points in surgery, I guess. That will probably help us out a little bit. And he is actually our surgeon. He is actually our surgeon, because Jeremus tends to get himself knocked unconscious almost all the time, and he has 9 in all those things, so he's perfectly fine, but he does tend to get eliminated quite a bit, so it's nice to have someone that is a little bit more, shall we say, a little bit tougher, a little bit harder to kill. Alright, so we have Etrusc Castle with, well, 145. They have 145, 65 from King Graveth there, and we're going to be heading inside. It is a ladder castle, I have checked. I wanted to make sure that we were doing the appropriate siege, you know. We don't want to go in and find that it's a siege tower in the last episode, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last episode of the series. Maybe it is. It really depends. It depends on how stubborn the Rhodoks end up being, but I think we're going to be pretty much fine, because the only obstacle that we had was King Graveth, or at least I think it is going to be. And we have already dealt with him, so that's pretty good. Anyway, let's see if I can get up here and get shot, because that's what happens. That's always what happens to Barney, isn't it? Every single time he's trying to do something, he's just like, yeah, I'm just minding my own business, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he gets shot in the leg, or the side, or the shoulder, or the face. Yeah, it's mostly the face, and yeah, so then he topples off the ladder and falls down. It's great. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we're doing some pretty nice damage. I mean, look at this. I'm doing 100 damage now per headshot, which is so much better than previously. So, yeah, I mean, if you're having an archer-based character, or even a crossbow-based character, it is so highly recommended to upgrade your weapon. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? You know, upgrade your gear and you're obviously going to do more damage, but it's just such a crazy difference how much it actually changes your damage output. Pretty cool. Alright, so I'm actually going to try and see if I can... Yep, There we go, nice headshot right there, and maybe I can get another one if he... There we go. Oh, well, never mind. Don't really need headshots now that we have this new bow. It's really helping us out quite a lot. Now, this is obviously going to be a pretty simple fight for us. I don't think we really need to worry too much because all of our... I mean, as I say, Swadian Knights, they're great, you know? They are generally the all-around unit that can basically do everything with the exception of range. Obviously, they don't have any ranged abilities whatsoever. They have no thrown weapons as far as I'm aware. They don't have any crossbows, no bows, no nothing like that. So obviously they're going to be pretty terrible at range, but you don't really need range when you are this defensive. Like, Swadian Knights come with some great gear, armor, you know, they have shields, and sometimes they come with lances as well for field battles and all that sort of thing, so you're really not going to need any other unit, and that's the point, you know? That's the reason why many mods exist. And, you know, specifically, obviously, Flores Expanded, what I talked about in the previous episode, and Diplomacy, and I think actually someone mentioned in the comments, Diplomacy, what was it called now? Diplomacy for Litdom or something like that? I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, if you check the comment section, you'll see it. But anyway, point is, that and many other mods like it have just tweaked the gameplay just, you know, ever so slightly. Nothing too much. You know, I mean, obviously Flores is a little bit more of a change than some of the others, but that's the point. That's the reason why the modding community exists, because Swadian Knights also exist, and in the native game, they are just that little bit, I think, maybe just a little bit too powerful. And yeah, you know, if you play as Sarranids, you of course have the option to use, you know, Sarranid Mamluks, and they are just as good. You know, they're really nice, but they do tend to, well, they do tend to come with weapons that are not exactly easily usable. And by the way, did you see that wonderful crowd surf right there that we just did? Yeah, that was pretty amazing. It's been a long time since I've had such a successful one. And speaking of successful ones, I just sneezed. Yep, I just sneezed. That was great. Anyway, that's the reason for that cut. Anyway, the point is, crowd surfing, it's always fun. Highly recommend doing it. And also, Swadian Knights, very, very powerful. Needed a little bit of tweaking, and that's why the mod community, you know, stepped in a little bit there, made sure that the, you know, the factions are getting a little bit more balanced. And that's what I very much appreciate about mod support in games as well, because it's obviously not just Warband, it's all kinds of games that have mod support, and the community is obviously going to step in and do a little bit of tweaking here and there, even if it's just small changes. But having Swadian Knights be the literal kings of the game, yeah, that does tend to make things relatively simple most of the time, because if you think about it, you can probably take over some territory reasonably quickly just by utilizing the Swadian Man-at-Arms and the Knight unit. And there you go. Very nice. We were able to achieve victory at Etrosk Castle with, well, pretty easy pickings. Alright, I'm not going to be taking any prisoners right here, mainly because I'd like to keep my army as efficient as possible. Well, this is pretty fantastic. I've made my way over to Yalen, and this guy was right outside, and we're going to be tackling him in a field battle. I was actually hoping that it was going to be a flat battlefield, but what can I say? It's Rodok territory. They're really big fans of hills and you know, all kinds of things. Anyway, point is, they really love their mountainous terrain, and, well, cavalry doesn't. No, they do not love this. I do not love this, and it's going to be a little bit tricky to eliminate just 42 units. I mean, he has 41 now, obviously, but the point is it's going to be very difficult to deal with them. Or maybe not, maybe not. Actually, I have 50 cavalry. Maybe we should just charge everyone in and see what we can do. But if it was flat, like down here in this small valley, it would make so much more difference to how quickly we're able to win this. But yeah, this is actually a defector from the Sarranids. And, well, he's going to be very unhappy about his selection of, you know, going over to the Rodoks. Although, you know, I guess he's been having a pretty fine time of things before we came along and ruined his day. I actually don't even know whether we've met this guy before. I think we probably have sometime in the past. But, yeah, pretty simple to take him out, and I actually wanted to do this literally just because most of the time in the last, I don't know, 10 or so episodes, we really haven't had the opportunity to do any field battles, and it's actually really cool and a bit refreshing actually to get a little bit of a field battle in before the final siege. And we're going to see how we do in Yalen in just a moment. And I don't exactly know how many units are actually there because I was concentrating on tackling this guy and intercepting him a little bit. He did manage to escape, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know, that's just how it is. Anyway, let's have a look. Whoa, alright, so there's 400, but bear in mind, we only need to eliminate... How many is it now? I think we only need to eliminate about 300 and something to be able to achieve victory. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. I have 68 Swadian Knights. I'm actually going to be waiting here for a little bit of time outside while my people restore themselves. Once Jeremus is back up and running, the wound treatment will start to kick in. Level 9 wound treatment's pretty crazy. And yeah, it's going to be pretty good. So let's have a look. Everyone is back and... He has... they have started to recuperate themselves somewhat. Thankfully, this is a ladder town, so it should be pretty easy for us to get on the battlements. Ooh, the defenders are actually coming out. Well, I was actually not anticipating this. I thought that they would not do that whatsoever. I think that this is probably the worst idea that they could probably have, but they are hoping... They are very much hoping that they will be able to deal some significant damage, yes, to the various units outside here. But they don't know that we only have basically Swadian Knights, and that is obviously a unit that you certainly do not want to fight, especially considering most of the enemy's units appear to be archers and crossbowmen and everything. And well, if these guys had, I don't know, similar units like Mamluks or Rodok Sergeants or something like that, I think we would probably be in some trouble, maybe just a little bit of trouble. Nothing too dramatic, but yeah, because they have units that are not used to mortal combat, basically, because we are literally going right up on them and being like, hello there, we would like to take your town, please. And they're like, no thank you. And then we're like, but it's 50% off. No, but they're very, yes, misjudging, shall we say. Oh well, 40 renown. That was a very, very quick and easy 40 renown. Only 60 units they sent out. I think that's pretty fine with me. I don't mind. And we can now charge the walls, and we can see what we can do here. Now, bear in mind, if I get taken out, this is going to be made much, much more difficult than it has to be. And we are outnumbered. Bear that in mind. We only have 41. The enemy has 59. Let's see what we can do here. They have a bunch of crossbowmen in the archery nest over to the left, and over to the right as well. Oh, fantastic. Double whammy. Very good. Well, hopefully they're not going to be defending. No, they're not defending here whatsoever. This is kind of impressive on a kind of pathetic scale. Ooh, okay. Okay. Who am I actually being shot by? Because I'm seeing a couple of people in front of me, but I'm not seeing anyone to the side or behind me that can actually see me right now. So theoretically, I should be fine to just kind of stand here. Let's see if I can bait these guys into attacking me. I took 35 damage. That was indeed a headshot. Absolutely a headshot right there from some crossbowman or other. And maybe I'll be able to deal with these guys up here. Oh, my forces are already inside. If I can survive this, this will be a victory. I'm pretty sure this will be a victory, but that's the thing. It's a big if, isn't it? It's an absolutely enormous if, because I don't have faith in my fighting skills, especially with this medium speed weapon. Usually I'm kind of a big fan of faster weapons at this point in the game, because usually faster weapons are going to be able, with a decent amount of power strike, to be able to beat most enemies. And there we go. We took out that trained crossbowman and all his friends. There we go. And we can also eliminate these guys. There we go. Nice. Okay, so now to go and join our friends over there. Alright, so it seems like we may be having a slight issue here. Maybe my people have just gone into the archery nest over there. I'm not entirely sure, but we seem to be... Well, are we getting overrun? I don't think we're going to get overrun, surely. We seem to be outmatching the enemy pretty heavily right now. Oh, there's Jeremus. Very nice. Okay, so Jeremus, please don't die. We need your surgery and everything to keep all our people alive. Thank you very much. But it seems like we are being a little bit outnumbered here. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I think we should have pretty good handle on things as long as we're able to eliminate the units as easily as they arrived. There we go. Okay, new enemies have arrived. How many have we eliminated so far? 123. We've only lost 24, and only 4 to the Grim Reaper, so we're pretty good in that regard. Kill-death ratios doing very nicely indeed, and obviously we're looking to have the utmost efficiency as possible. Oh, that is... Okay, I'm actually a bit worried here for a second. Do you think I can jump back on this? Let me actually... let me have a look. Okay, I'm right at the edge, so I'm gonna have to jump like this. Oh, this is bad. Oh, I actually made it. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Alright, so let's tell everyone to charge once again. I'm not entirely sure why they were not charging. Kind of strange. Oh well, never mind. Let's go into their little spawn area here. Now bear in mind that going in here is usually kind of a risk because I can get myself pretty much easily killed. And I do have 30 arrows actually, so maybe I should make use of them by headshotting a couple of enemies. And, oh yeah, then we can actually showcase just how much better a warbow is, and the bow that I was using previously, I used for literally, what 90% of the series? That was kind of bad, wasn't it? Oh well, never mind. I think we're pretty good here, actually. Seems like not many people are wanting to focus me down. I can actually headshot and one-hit kill most of the Rodok sharpshooters now. So that's a big difference, because beforehand we couldn't do that. It was a two-hit kill with headshots only as well. So I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, I will not be able to replenish my arrows once again because most people are using bolts. 3 more arrows, maybe I'll be able to do that. There we go. And 1 more shot. There we are. Okay, so that's pretty fantastic. I'm gonna just check just to see, just in case maybe someone has some arrows here. It's unlikely, but well, you never know. Maybe some of the Saranids perhaps, because they did mix a Rodok and Saranid band here, so maybe they have some arrows. Might make sense. It seems like most of the Saranids were actually infantry, so it's probably unlikely that we'll find any arrows here. But you never know. No, Elite Scimitar might actually be nice to pick up, but I'm actually just going to leave it, just in case. You never know when a huge amount of shields are going to appear out of nowhere. And we are actually losing a couple more Swadian Knights right now, but that's alright, because you can see here that, well, we've already eliminated 243 of the enemy, and we still have 32 remaining. We have 23 of our allies still on the battlefield, and, well, I think we got this. Well, there it is. The last enemy has fallen, and, well, that's Yalen. That is it. We have captured it, or at least we should have, if we can defeat the various units in the streets here. So this is going to be a bit of a problem, maybe. I remember the only times that I've actually gone into the streets have been, well, problematic, as you can see. Because most of the enemies will happen just to be Rodok Sergeants. And they are very, very hard to kill. Very good defensive units. And there it is. Okay, so we do have 2 more enemies remaining. I am hopeful that they are not Rodok sharpshooters. If they are sharpshooters, we might have some problems. Oh no, never mind. I was actually going the wrong way. How fantastic. Ah, Barney. Won't you miss these times, Barney? Me taking you the wrong way? Yes, very good. He's like, I can't believe this. Rolls eyes. You know. All that wonderful stuff. Alright, so there you go. There's another 36. And the last... very last enemy. Gotta be a bit careful here. Take him down onto the barrels. He's Donkey Kong. There we go. Alright, are we done? No? There's one more. Okay, I'm actually gonna allow my friends here to deal with the last Rodok, and we're going to see if he can actually do this. I have faith in him because they're using Morning Stars, and I believe the Morning Stars actually do have a crush against blocks, I think. I think they can crush through blocks, as far as I'm aware, so that wasn't really going to end up very well for the Rodok there. Anyway, there you go. We actually do get the opportunity to take King Graveth prisoner, and I'm actually going to do that. And there it is. I guess I'll just take a couple of Swadian sergeants and a man-at-arms and so on and so forth, but there's really, well, there's really no need. There's really no need, because every single faction has been eliminated. And I'm going to be giving this to Lord Urube. Urube, there we go. Alright, so there it is. Let us wait here for some time and take a marvel, take a gander at our wonderful territory that is the entirety of the land of Calradia. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Yes, we've done it once again, because this is actually the third time that I have conquered an entire map. The first time, I believe, was... Actually, you know what? I think it's actually the fourth time. Yeah, I think it's actually the fourth time, because I'm forgetting about the Gekkokujo series. But anyway, point is, the first time was when we did our original, you know, Let's Play Man on Blade Warband series, which was focused on native, of course, which is what this was focused on as well. And then I did, I think it was Prophecy of Pendor, and that was with Iceni Frost Maiden. She was my second ever character, and that was the first mod that I ever played. Prophecy of Pendor, first mod I ever played. Oh, great choice, Reformist. Yes, let me just go and play one of the hardest mods at that time, and yes, that was a great choice. Very good. Anyway, yes. So Prophecy of Pendor was the second time when I conquered the entire map. And then it was Gekkokujo. I think, what was it now? I can't remember the Gekkokujo version number, but I'm sure it's there in the playlist somewhere. And then we have this one. And this took a long time, actually. Not because I was taking a long time to conquer the entire map, but literally just because the series went on a little bit of a break, twice. And it's now returned, and we've finally finished it up. It actually only took another 2 episodes, so it wasn't really a big deal. And the rocks are offering me peace. I'm actually going to accept that, because why not? There's no need for me not to accept peace, considering. And as far as I'm aware, there are no other vassals that are wanting to attack us on the map. So basically that is total domination. And there it is. That's it. That is the end of this series. We have done it. Total domination. And, well, everyone's just going to be perfectly happy. We've united Calradia once again. King Barney is very, very happy indeed. He actually leveled up in this episode as well. He's now level 35. And that will be it. And, yeah, so I thank you very much for joining me on this journey. And I do apologize once again for how long it actually took to complete, but I hope you very much enjoyed the journey, and I will see you next time.